Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this fascinating project. Had the chance to watch it with my family, laugh, cry, love your music, love your work. I even have some with me here. So
Yay!
awesome. Thank you for your music and your talent, and thank you, Zuleika, for being his muse and for being such an extraordinary human being. So ladies first, let me start with you. So, when you were presented with the opportunity to expose your life to the world, and at a time when you were going through a dark, bittersweet moment, how did you react it, and what did you not want them to explore or to expose?
Hmm. You know, when you're in a dark period in your life, the instinct is to retreat, not to share. Um, but I know from, the sense of isolation that I've felt in my hardest moments, how important it is to share those unvarnished stories of vulnerability. And so there were lots of moments where, my instinct was not to have a camera there. I also knew that it was important to show those moments, to offer what I hope will be a sense of companionship to anyone else who's experiencing their own big life interrupted moment, who is figuring out to survive and maybe feeling alone within that journey. And so that bigger why was what allowed me to move past my own hesitations and to open up our lives to the camera.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I'm Mr. Batiste. I'm as a husband who 7 years ago, when my daughter was 2, had to face my wife's breast cancer diagnosis. You feel the whole world shaken up. So what was it like to make the decision to balance, to continue with your work routine and not send everything to help and to be there with her? What was that specific moment that made you decide to balance your life with your work?
Believing that this is supposed to happen and that there's a purpose for everything. Moving through life with faith and having my faith guide my life prepares me for moments where I have to show up in faith. If you are watering that and giving that life throughout the times where you don't have to rely so much on that, then when you have to, it becomes much more of an option. So I'm grateful for faith.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So, how do you think has your life changed after watching this project?
It's hard for me to believe when I watched the film that this was only, a year ago, a year and a half ago. And so it's hard for me to watch those scenes, especially when I'm in the hospital. It's hard for me to see Jon and his private moments of struggle and suffering. But what it makes me think is that life is always in flux, and there's a comfort in that, because when you're going through a difficult period, you know that it's not going to be a difficult period forever. There's an ebb and a flow. And I think seeing how much has changed in the last year and a half, how much stronger I feel, how much we feel alive, really gives me an appreciation for the tenacity and the resilience of the human spirit.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. So, Mr. Batiste, music can be liberating, healing, but at the same time can aggravate any depression or any emotion. How were you able to cope with keeping or maintaining your creative process while dealing with this sensitive personal situation? And how was your collaboration with Matthew, the director, to bring this moment in your life to the screen?
The compartmentalization is the key, putting your mind in the present every time you're in a moment, sticking in that moment as much as possible. It's like building a muscle, the muscle of being present. And you do it through these times, and it really is a time of transformation in your life. You realize how much the present is all we have. And Matt, he's a great filmmaker because he's able to really embed. He has 1,500 hours of footage. He's embedded with us. He's there. And it's hard. It's really hard to have somebody who's in there like that. But also it was great to have these moments where you hear in the film where I'm talking. That's not a script. That's our conversations that Matt and I had almost at the end of every other day. He would say, we haven't spoken in a while, and we have these conversations processing everything that was happening. Instead of doing an interview, he would just, we would be talking, and I would either be falling asleep or I would be in the car on the way somewhere. And those are great ways as well to work with a filmmaker, because you're processing it together in real time.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And thank you again. My time is up. Thank you for such a beautiful, moving film. Thank you for your humility and your talent. And again, lots of health from Puerto Rico. Thank you. Thank you again, guys.